wanted to express yourself smoothly in Spanish? Today, you are going to build a toolkit of 85 essential phrases for everyday use, including everything from casual greetings to navigating work environments and city life. Not only you're going to know how and when to use these expressions, but you're also going to work on your pronunciation. Okay, we're going to start with the basics, greetings and polite expressions. And your default greeting in Spanish is buenos días. If you don't want to sound that formal, you can say hola, ¿cómo estás? You will answer by saying muy bien, ¿y tú? Or no muy bien, not very well. So now let's suppose that somebody is introducing you to someone. In that case, you can say ay, mucho gusto. Or if you want to sound more natural, you could say el gusto es mío. The pleasure is mine. What if you need to express gratitude? You can simply say muchas gracias or muchísimas gracias. And to respond, you can simply say de nada or more naturally, no hay problema. Now imagine that you have to say goodbye. You could say adiós or you could say nos vemos luego, hasta luego. Or if you know that you're going to be seeing that person the next morning, you could say hasta mañana. Hasta is one of my favorite words to say goodbye because it allows you to customize it depending on when you're going to see that person. For example, hasta el lunes. Okay, but what if I want to say goodbye, but I also want to wish someone a good day? In this case, you have two options. You can say que le vaya bien if that person is leaving a place, or que tengas un buen día. Have a good day. So now let's check some phrases for daily situations that you can apply in many different contexts. Okay, so let's imagine that you're in the middle of a crowd and you want to pass. You could say con permiso or simply permiso. Excuse me. So how would you say I'll be right back in Spanish? Ahorita regreso o ahorita vuelvo. The next one is como quieras, as you wish. And I love it to agree with somebody's proposal. For example, ¿quieres ir al cine? Como quieras. Next, we have espérame, estoy muy cansado, estoy ocupado. And be careful because with these two, you need to change the adjective to match the gender and number of the person. In my case, I will say estoy muy cansada. To ask for help, you can say ¿me puedes ayudar? And you could say yes, or you could say, no te puedo ayudar, or simply, no puedo. But if you're feeling nice and in a good mood, you could say, ¿qué necesitas? The next expressions, you can use them to convey that you don't understand or you don't know something. No sé plus an infinitive verb to express that you don't know how to do an activity. For example, no sé cocinar. No entiendo. It doesn't make sense in Spanish is no tiene sentido. We use the verb tener to form this expression. I know, no tiene sentido, but that's the way it is in Spanish. How would you decline something politely? I will say, no es necesario. Do you want more cake? No es necesario, but you can always give me more. Okay, so let me ask you this. How would you say poor you in Spanish? You have pobrecito o pobre de ti. If instead you want to express joy for something that is going on, you could say, qué bueno. Now let me show you some expressions that you can use to ask people about their plans. We have the basic one. What are you doing? ¿Qué haces? Or, ¿qué quieres hacer? What do you want to do? And you can respond, and this is my default response for these questions. No estoy segura. I'm not sure. What if somebody asks why, but you don't have a good reason why? You could say porque sí o porque no. Do you need a good reason why I don't like white chocolate? Porque no. And to seek some clarification, you could say ¿qué quieres decir? What do you mean? I'm sorry to hear that in Spanish is siento oír eso. To show mild agreement, you could say supongo que sí or simply supongo. I guess so. In Spanish, the verb tener is one of the most powerful verbs to build daily life expressions. For example, tiene sentido, tienes razón, tengo ganas de, and I love this one because this one allows you to talk about your cravings. You can use nouns such as tengo ganas de churros, or an infinitive verb to talk about the actions that you feel like doing. For example, tengo ganas de dormir y comer. And the last example, tengo mucha hambre. You can replace hambre with other feelings such as tengo sueño, tengo calor, or tengo frío. So you already know that espérame means wait. How could you respond to that? If somebody goes and say, ay, espérame poquito, you could say, tómate tu tiempo. Now let me show you some useful expressions with ir and its reflexive form irse. Vamos a plus a noun or an infinitive verb. Vamos al cine. Vamos a comer pizza. If you just want to focus on nouns, you could also use vamos por. Vamos por unos churros? Now let me show you some examples with the reflexive form. To say that you and your group of friends are leaving, you are going to say vámonos. If you are the one leaving, you are going to say ya me voy. Now let me show you some cool and essential phrases for the restaurant. The first one, es para llevar. To ask for a table, you could say mesa para dos, por favor. Or, ¿tendrá una mesa disponible? Do you have a table available? What if you need an extra seat and that person has one? You could say, ¿esta silla está ocupada? And of course, we need to see the menu because otherwise, how are we going to eat? To do that, you could simply say, ¿puedo ver el menú, por favor? I always need some extra time to decide what I want to eat. It's a very important decision. Every time I go and say, ¿me puede dar unos minutos? Once I'm ready to order, I will say, quisiera la ensalada. Or if I don't feel like being formal, I will say, ¿me puede traer o me da? ¿Me puede traer la ensalada? And finally, the last expression you need is la cuenta, por favor. Two expressions that you need in your toolkit is abre a and cierra a. It opens and closes at. For example, el museo abre a las 8 y cierra a las 10. But let's be real. When we're in the city, in a Spanish-speaking country, very likely you're going to need to ask directions. In that case, you can say, ¿Cómo llego a la estación del tren? Another useful expression is, ¿cuánto hace al museo? ¿Dónde está la parada del tren? But careful, if you want to ask about the existence or presence of something in a city, you need to say ¿dónde hay? You could also say estoy buscando una farmacia. And other useful expressions that you need in this context are ¿dónde puedo tomar un taxi? You can change that verb to express other activities, such as ¿dónde puedo comprar recuerditos? Where can I buy souvenirs? ¿Necesito llegar a? Or estoy perdido. I'm lost. Okay, so let's go check some expressions for work and school. Let's imagine that we need to ask about schedules. We can say ¿a qué hora es? ¿A qué hora es la reunión? O ¿a qué hora se termina? What time does the meeting end? If you don't know how something is spelled, you could say ¿cómo se escribe? ¿Cómo se escribe tu nombre? How do you spell your name? Okay, so how would you say what was the about? In Spanish, to say that, we say ¿de qué se trató? ¿De qué se trató la reunión? What was the meeting about? And remember, you can apply this expression in other contexts, such as ¿de qué se trató la película? What was the movie about? And to ask for somebody's opinion, you could say ¿qué opinas de? And if you agree, you could say ¿estoy de acuerdo? And remember, you can conjugate estar to refer to other people. For example, no estamos de acuerdo. So let's imagine that your boss or your teacher comes to your place and says, what are you up to? You could say estoy por, I'm about to, estoy por imprimir estas fichas. Let's imagine that you're in class and everybody has their textbooks open and ready, but you don't know what page is. You could say ¿en qué página? Or ¿qué página? To ask the date, you have three options. You could say ¿qué día es? ¿A qué estamos hoy? Or to specifically ask about deadlines, you could say ¿cuál es la fecha de entrega? If you were working with customers and you need to offer your help, you could say ¿en qué le puedo ayudar? How can I help you? What about if you didn't understand something and you need that thing to be re-explained? You could say ¿me puedes explicar otra vez? I was always the type of student that would agree with my friend when we didn't understand something. In that case, I will say, yo tampoco entiendo, or yo tampoco sé. You already know that espérame means wait, and that's a little bit informal. What if we need to be more polite? We could say, permítame un momento. If you need your customer to call you, you could say, por favor, llámeme a. And of course, after a long day, we need a break. To say that, you could say, vamos a tomar una pausa o hay que tomar una pausa. Okay, so now you have 85 expressions that you can use in different situations. If you need to start practicing your listening skills, you can take this same lesson on my Spanish Immersion channel. I'm also going to leave you a link in the description where you can find these expressions in a printable PDF so you can have them with you. So that's it for today, guys. If you found this video helpful, let me know by hitting the like button. I hope to see you soon. Bye!